Hi, and welcome to Brookdale Newsmakers, your source for what's happening on our campus and in your community. I'm Amanda Willis, and joining us today is author of Read My Hips and Brookdale Student, Kim Brittingham. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Now tell us where the inspiration came from to write your book, Read My Hips.
Well, actually, I had written a number of essays, many of which were about body image. And one of them was called Read My Hips. It was published on iVillage, and it got a tremendous positive reader response, a huge number of comments that was very unexpected. So my agent said to me, I know you were writing this other book, but why don't you consider doing a book about body image? Because when you talk about this topic, people really listen.
Definitely. Now, in your book, you mentioned about the harsh reality when you were working in an advertising department at a magazine firm. Now, what happened and what did you learn from that experience?
There was a time when I worked in the advertising department for a magazine called Grace. It was a nationally distributed, beautiful, glossy fashion magazine for plus sizes. And I remember the director of the department telling me that every advertisement they sold was hard-won because some advertisers didn't want fat women being seen in their stores or at their cosmetic counters if they were a cosmetic company.
Oh my gosh. Well, the book opens with you finding an old photograph of yourself. Yes. Now tell us the story behind that.
In 2008, I made my first TV appearance on the Today Show, and one of the producers asked me to provide some photographs of myself at different stages of my life. So I dug into a box of old pictures I hadn't looked at in ages, and I found one that when I was a teenager, I used to consider my fat picture. I think almost everybody has a fat picture. And I looked at it years later, and I said, there's something odd about this. Now, what was funny is at the time, I had taken a black magic marker and I had reshaped my hips in the picture because I thought they were huge, bulbous, like baboon hips at the time. So here I was, an adult, finding this picture again. I rubbed the marker off and I saw that there was nothing underneath the ink. It was, as an adult, I realized after the fact that I had body dysmorphia, which is a disorder where you look in the mirror and you're not really seeing what's there. So as a result, I went on a long train of diets that actually made me fatter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I love this part of your book when you did an experiment on a bus. Now tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, when I was living in New York City, I used to take the bus to work a lot. And I would notice sometimes that even if the bus got very, very crowded, and almost everybody wanted a seat, sometimes no one would sit beside me. And there were actually times when people would make a cruel remark about the size of my body in relation to the seats. So I just thought, maybe it would be interesting to kind of goose people out of their sleepwalk for a little while. So I went home and I made a very realistic self-help book cover that said, "Fat is contagious, how sitting next to a fat person can make you fat." I wrapped it around the book I was actually reading and carried it on the bus just to see how people reacted.
Oh my goodness. And what did you find? What was your findings?
I was surprised by how many people took it seriously, which is a pretty profound statement about the way we think in this country, that we would actually believe that sitting next to a fat person can make you fat. I would overhear people getting on their cell phones and asking a friend to look it up on Amazon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Other people, I think, got it and would smile at me or.
That's so funny. Well, being a Brookdale student, have your classes helped you been able to write the book?
Well, I wrote the book before I started at Brookdale. This is my first semester.
Okay.
But because my book is coming out in just a few weeks, I chose classes that would help me in the promotion of the book, like public speaking, journalism, because it helps me to see it from the other side, from the reporter's side.
Okay. Now, real quick, can you tell us when Read My Hips will be available for purchase?
Yes, you can pre-order it now on Amazon.
Okay.
And it'll be available in stores on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Our guest today was Kim Brittingham. Thank you for joining us on Brookdale Newsmakers. For more information, visit kimwrites.com. I'm Amanda Willis. See you next time here on Brookdale Newsmakers.